Good morning, and welcome to Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig. I'm Craig,
And I'm Dan.
and you're all a bunch of Nazis if you're listening to us.
You're watching Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig, your sunrise reminder that things could get worse, so laugh at them while you still can.
That was some lackluster applause there.
I tried.
You
I
need-
tried to really coax them into enthusiasm, but it's too early. It's much, much too early.
Just the Tom Hanks children you've gathered around your studio there to
do you want me to talk about that instead of the thing that I have? Because I could
think
rant
so.
about that for a while.
I
All right.
really do. I
All right.
really do.
I'm sure Sharon hasn't looked at what we're talking about today. Scrap the grandma. Scrap her. Everybody else is talking about rapping grandma. Maybe we'll just play her and then talk about Pinocchio. Whatever. Craig, talk about your thing first, because you're the leader here.
All right, fair enough. I'm the leader here. I guess that is not the right thing. I should share my screen.
You should.
Except you're showing a Who
all right.
is this?
Just a little
Now I
sneak
wanna
peek.
talk about this too.
Little sneak peek at Linda Paulson.
Oh my god. All right, now I want both of these things, but that's okay. So
You want to pull up your screen?
I did.
Oh,
I
did
did.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I don't know if you realize this, but you and I have more in common than we think with the Nazi party. Like it was that we were white and we were white, so that made us Nazis. But now I guess did you realize when we were growing up and in church and stuff when the people like raised their hands to pray because we were both raised evangelical and people if you don't know people like hold their hands up to pray. I still don't really fully
Nazi
understand
flags.
why, but well that too. But apparently what we weren't told as we were being raised up in these Nazi churches is that we were Nazi saluting as we were raising our hands to pray. Did you know that?
I mean, they told me not to say anything, and I've kept a vow of silence for a very long time. But yeah, I was cued in on it at an early age. I started asking questions, and I was like, "Wait, are we heiling Hitler?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Shh."
Do you know what's even worse though is when you Heil Hitler with both hands because that's like double Heil.
Right. Double Heil. Yeah.
So apparently some dumbass recurring guest on MSNBC and CNN, and he's a lawyer. He's his name is Doug Mastriano. He apparently
And he's 12, right?
Oh no, it's Doug Mastriano supporters. Who's this lawyer? What's his name?
I don't know.
I don't
This is your
I don't
story.
know. Let's just read. A lawyer and recurring guest on MSNBC and CNN has come under fire after claiming in a viral tweet that Doug Mastriano supporters were giving a Nazi salute during a Sunday campaign rally in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. So I guess this wasn't even at a church, but it was during a prayer, very much during a prayer.
Right. I was going to title this A Church Full of Nazis, but then I realized it wasn't in a church, so I just used it as a metric of measurement.
So a churchful.
A metric church full of Nazis, yes.
Okay,
roughly,
fair
give or
enough.
take.
I mean, yeah, one or two Nazis less, it's still right
Sprinkled
around.
a taste, yes. It's not an exact science.
So what's the difference between a metric churchful and a standard churchful of Nazis?
Monarchy?
No, do you measure by one hand or two hand Heil salutes?
I think so, yes.
So evangelical leader Lance Wallnau asked the crowd to rise and asked if a proclamation of can be a spiritual thing before asking them to raise their hands for a prayer rally in support of Mastriano's run for PA governor. So here's an image of all of them giving Nazi salutes. Of course, they do a zoom in shot, so you only see one hand from most
Right.
people.
At an angle so you don't see their left hands. And even still, like, even if those were people heiling Hitler in that picture, very lacklusterly they are. Their fingers are not together. Like, I wish this surprised me, but after the OK sign and like I don't know, Pepe and like everything that comes up being a white supremacy something something, um, it's sad that this doesn't even surprise me a little bit. That people raising their hands is mistaken for a Nazi salute, and I don't even believe that it was mistaken for a Nazi salute. I just believe
No.
that it doesn't freaking matter. They just want anything of any good to be tied, or anything of outside their paradigm to be. When you think about it, you think about Nazis.
So this is his post. He says, it's Tristan Snell is his name. So go blow him up on Twitter and tell him how much of a dumbass he is. Because he says, yes, this is a Nazi salute at Doug Mastriano's campaign event.
No,
Democracy
this isn't. And I don't care who Doug Mastriano is. You're just wrong.
democracy is literally on the ballot in November. Here's the let me see if it'll play the video.
And we'll do that by putting our right hand in the air on the count of 3. If you're willing to do this.
He did say right
Can
hand.
you say what they said at Gettysburg? When you see us lined up as one, sweep down the hill to victory. On the count of 3, we'll bring our hand down as one. Father, I pray that indeed Pennsylvania will be like Little Round Top, and America will have a new birth of liberty. As one on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. As one!
I mean, that's still kind of creepy.
Yeah. He did say raise your right hand too. He didn't say put your hands up in prayer, but still you see in the video other people are putting all their hands up and both of their hands up in prayer. But like he got blasted on Twitter as he should, because this Andrew Kaczynski, hopefully related to Ted Kaczynski,
Yeah, obviously.
said it's just people praying. It doesn't even resemble a Nazi salute. I don't know.
This is weird because giving the retarded guy, whoever wrote this, the benefit of the doubt. What if he was just saying? I guess he did say like literal Nazi salute. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, yeah, this is kind of creepy that a pastor is talking about basically going to war and telling them to raise their right hand and then chant a thing after it. It's like not a good look. It has nothing directly to do with Nazis. And if he was going for, hey, look at this concerning thing that reminds me of bad people in history, that would be something different. But it seems like he's just dumb.
Yeah, because he said there, can you say what they said at Gettysburg? When you see us lined up as one, sweep down the hill to victory. Father, I pray indeed Pennsylvania will be like Little Round Top and America will have a new birth of liberty. So I don't know, even if it wasn't a prayer thing and he said, can you raise your right, like what about every time we go into court and they say, raise your right hand, do you swear to blah, blah, blah. Is that a Nazi salute? Not only is this a sign of prayer for the evangelical church, which this guy is an evangelical pastor, but it's also a sign of swearing, a sign of like telling the truth, a sign of loyalty. Like it's ingrained in our country as like you raise your right hand as swearing to something. It's not a Heil Hitler thing. Or if it did derive from like the Nazi fags, then maybe we should stop having it in our courthouses and maybe our freaking President Biden, who democracy is at stake, shouldn't have raised his Nazi salute when he swore in as president, or every freaking politician, senator, I'm sure, has raised their right hand. Like
every single one of them, yes, and sworn on a Bible.
Yes. Are we? I mean, are they all a bunch of Nazi fags?
Yes.
Like, are we going to call every time somebody is every kid that raises their hand in class for a question, are they Nazis? Like we can stretch this out so freaking far if we want to.
Anybody who goes to court, and any battered wife who goes to court to sue her husband, she is also
Nazi fags.
Yes. I'm just tired of even the word Nazi. Even if even if they are Nazis saluting, can we just ignore the fact that they're Nazis? Because yes, they're all Nazis. We get it. We get every Republican is obviously a Nazi. So
Every
if that's
not Joe Biden Democrat, actually.
yes, those two. It's just like be more creative with your campaigning because we've been going on this Nazi train since 2016 now. It's like they're not even trying anymore. It's just like, oh, don't vote for him. He's a Nazi. That's your slogan.
I
That's your
thought that was
campaign.
everyone. Yeah. Yeah, we went from racism to white supremacy to Nazis. I'm sure I missed one or two variants in between there, but yeah, just every year or two we need to recycle and go find a different word that's scary enough that we can use it against our opponents and people will fear. Yeah, I don't care. All that like so this was an evangelical leader. Just was he talking? Okay, in support of. All right,
Yeah.
sorry.
He
So
was
it was an evangelical leader at a guy running for governor's rally.
yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the intertwining, especially of evangelical stuff and politics. Leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't support that, and I think that this is gross and like if you got like introspective about it or whatever and smoked a little, you'd be like, yeah, it's a little bit Nazi-ish to, be getting religion into politics and talking about going to war and making people like, but that's not what this guy is doing. He's just saying hands equal Nazi and like there's not deep thought here.
No,
I'm giving
he
him too
didn't.
much credit.
Yeah, he didn't even include the part that they're calling to some kind of spiritual war here, that
Right.
we are literally fighting the devil here. No, it was just merely the fact that they raised their hand. Whatever reason they raised their hand, whether it was prayer, whether it was, hey, raise your hand if you don't like the current governor. They all raise their hand. He's like, look, they're literally Nazis
Right.
saluting. He could have found a way to freaking make this work for his Twitter post, and it beautifully backfired
Like if
on
he
him.
goes up on stage and he's like, hey, can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, give me an okay. And they're all like, and he's like, oh, white supremacists. Like,
Yeah.
it's bizarre and people are retarded.
People are retarded indeed.
Yeah.
That's really all I got for that one.
Yeah, and I think both of mine are short, so maybe we'll just do both because you do need to watch Rapping Grandma. So switch off your screen. Actually, I can switch off your screen. There we go. This I don't know or care anything about this woman, but just know that she's gunning for my job, and I don't like it, and it concerns me in multiple ways. But we'll talk about it. This is Linda Paulson running for governor somewhere.
Utah District 12, listen up right here. There's a new name on the ballot for the Senate this year. My name is Linda Paulson, Republican and awesome. Love God and family and the Constitution. I tried to get another conservative to run. Nobody could do it, so I'm getting it done. I'm pro-religious freedom, pro-life, pro-police, the right to bear arms and the right to free speech. I want less government control and regulation, want to stop and expose all political corruption where there's integrity, morality, accountability. Government programs should lead to self-sufficiency and support traditional family as the fundamental unit of society.
Family. Like, there's so much passion in her voice. Family.
Utah, you're doing it right.
Thank you, Utah. God bless you.
Society. But in schools, they're pushing for new beliefs. And just to clarify this, because there's some who can't define this, as a female adult, I know what a woman is.
Whoa.
Spitting fire.
Oh, she did it. She didn't go there.
Oh man, I want to see her opponent give the clap back. All I want is stupid politicians making rap diss tracks at each other. She needs the follow-up to this where it's just attacking her opponent and it's like straight fire diss track. I also love that the tempo to this is like 37. It's like the slowest rap song I've ever heard. It's slower than frickin', I don't know, Dr. Dre song.
And she could barely keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I mean, you got to give her credit for creativity here because again, like we've lost creativity in campaigning to the point where we just call our opponents Nazis. I didn't hear her once call her opponent a Nazi in this rap video, so we got to give her style points, I guess. But on the flip side, who's her key demographic that she's going for here? An old white granny rapping to like a 90s or like an 80s or 90s like rap beat that was made on a Casio $50 keyboard.
I don't know, but I think it's everybody. Like, I don't know. I don't think this was trying to be serious. I have a feeling, maybe I don't know. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, as I do. If I was like in this lady's area and she was like, "Hey, do you want to make a video for me?" and she was down with making something that's just intentionally cringe as shit, I would be all for it and have some fun with this.
Yeah,
I would have had a hard time making something this cringe. Like, this takes next level boomership, and yeah, it's kind of impressive that she pulled it off. But like, I don't care about her views. Some of them I agree with, some I disagree with. I don't care. All I care about is that is a thing in the world. And I like to think that maybe some Vermin Supreme ads or some Jeremy Kaufman ads or some ads that have been showing that you can do things differently in a political campaign, that led to this creative cringe genius. And she's like, yeah, we're going for it. I'll put on the dinosaur costume.
She's like, look at these guys' videos. We could do something like this. But we don't have to go to the autistic video guy from the Libertarian
Right.
Party. We can do this ourselves. I've got a cell phone and I've got some sick beats in my apartment
And some dope rhymes.
Mhm.
Now, it did remind me of this. I don't know if you've seen this one. It's a little older.
Truth. If you want to reach those kids on the street, then you gotta do a rap to a hip hop beat. So I gave
You've seen this, right?
Yes, I was
Okay.
actually about to say, and I lost my train of thought. This reminds me of those like 90s pastors, like youth pastors that try to get up and be cool in front of their youth and rap.
But you've seen this one in particular, right? Okay.
Have.
All right.
This is what I was thinking of,
Okay.
actually.
All right.
a sermon, an urban kick. My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
All right. Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Okay. All right.
Whoa. I
That's
forgot about that part.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just a minor detail there that slips your mind. Now, taking a hard right or left turn into Disney Lane. Craig, did you hear that there's a new Pinocchio live action movie out?
Not until you sent it to me last night, your breakdown of the film, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, is this a real thing? Are you just like
Just fan fiction.
thought maybe you were proposing a movie idea?"
And if I was proposing a fan fiction movie idea to expose some things in Hollywood, I wouldn't write it any better than Disney did with Pinocchio. And the original Pinocchio movie had a lot of the same suspect elements to it and questionable content that a lot of conspiracy theorists have pointed to over the years. But there's something about it in live action in the year 2022 that just makes it all the more real. So let me give my brief synopsis breakdown of Pinocchio 2022.
Oh.
Tom Hanks is Geppetto. Geppetto.
I never put the two together until you spelled it out for me. So
I don't know what you're talking about, Craig. I'm just saying his name slowly.
Do you
Geppetto.
think all maybe that wasn't his real name? Maybe all the townsfolk were like, "Oh, stay away from that guy. He's Geppetto."
It's very possible, and he really wants to have a kid, really, really bad. Now, if you're not familiar with Tom Hanks, as I know most people aren't, he's got some weird things that have shown up on his Instagram that made a lot of people lean towards casting him as a Geppetto in the new Pinocchio film. Anyway, Tom Hanks is Geppetto, who immediately sends his kid to public school. Like, as soon as he has this kid that he's been dying to have, he's like, the next morning, all right, it's time for you to go to public school. Okay, red flags, number one. But on his way to school or around the school or whatever, he's groomed by a fox. A fox shows up with his friend, and they're just like grooming this kid and telling him, hey, we're going to make you famous and we'll make you popular, because everybody wants to be popular. They even say in this one, everybody wants to be an influencer.
Oh.
Yeah. And in doing that, they trick him, and then they kidnap him, and then they traffic him into slavery, where he goes into show business because he was promised he was going to be famous. So they put him up on stage. He dances on stage while adults throw money at him.
They literally threw money at him.
Oh yeah, they threw money at him, and I mean they're coins.
God.
It's not dollar bills, but it's
still throwing money at a child, though, dancing on stage.
Well, it's a wooden child, so it's fine.
Okay, that's
Don't
fine.
be weird. Don't make it weird. Then, after he dances on stage for adults who are throwing money at him, he's kidnapped by a guy in the middle of the night, just walking down the street, kidnapped by a guy who's driving an old-timey van. By that, I mean a big carriage, but it's like, it's full of kids. It's got kids all over it, and these kids are like angry at their parents and stuff. Seems like he kidnapped these kids, all of them, and convinced them all that they need to go with him to Pleasure Island. Pleasure.
Is that really the name of the island?
That is really the name of the island. And again, it was really the name of the island in the old version, which made it weird. But
It's
back
been a
then,
while.
back then it wasn't weird because we didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein's island was a thing. Now that we live in the future, in 2022 again, and when Jeffrey Epstein's Pleasure Island is a real thing in real life that we all have to accept as reality.
Maybe Disney should have stepped back and been like, do we really want to call this place Pleasure Island?
They should have stepped back and said, do we really, really want to remake this movie? And I feel like there had to have been the conversations about all these things, and they're like, well, our hands are tied here, guys.
We have to do it. We have to do all the creepy things, or just scratch it like every shitty movie that we've decided to cancel.
Yeah. So the children are kidnapped and not just taken to Pleasure Island. They're like coaxed into believing that they need to go to Pleasure Island because of how amazing it is. When they get there, they're swimming in like a sea of candy. Just candy everywhere on Pleasure Island. Like, what do you lure kids into a pedo van with? And they're praising destruction and destroying property and just kids being kids stuff, lighting things on fire and things. And the kids get drunk. In this one, they call it root beer, and they make it clear that it's root beer. But in the original, it was beer. But either way, the kids seem to get drunk off this root beer. So self-indulgence.
I've never gotten drunk off root beer, but
No, me neither.
I've never been to Pleasure Island either that I remember.
Yep. After that, the children turn into beastly human/donkey hybrids, and most of them are literally consumed by demons. So there's like these smoke demon monster things that I don't really understand the rules in any of this universe that they've created, because it all just kind of is like, and then a thing happens, and then magic, and another thing happens. But there's these smoke monsters, and they're like, I don't know if they're eating the kids, but they pick them up and then the kids disappear. So they're literally consumed by demons. Pinocchio starts to turn into one of these donkeys as well. I don't know if they were going for like a Democrat analogy here of
Obvious.
maybe that's just me reading too much into this. But Pinocchio starts to, after he's been brainwashed into being a degenerate, he starts to turn into a donkey. Pinocchio escapes mostly because of magic, and he learns that public schools and influencers and show business are a bunch of satanic pedophiles. Unfortunately, in the end, he still has to go home with Tom Hanks. And there's definitely something to that nose-growing business as well. What is that all about? Because we remember Pinocchio as being the boy who his nose grows when he lies, but that has very little, almost nothing to do with any of the story at all. It's just a throwaway thing in Pinocchio where he's stuck in a cage, and then he realizes his nose grows when he lies, and then he stretches it out to get the key, and then I don't think his nose grows ever again in the entire movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Pinocchio since I was a small child. But from my recollection, that is the one thing that they always remind us about Pinocchio. That's the one thing in my childhood is that when Pinocchio lies, like, yeah, he's a wooden boy that Geppetto created, wanted a small child, and then he lies and his nose grows, and then at some point he turns into a real boy and says, "I'm a real boy."
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you remember about Pinocchio is his nose growing. I don't remember much, but
Any of the horrifying trauma-based mind control that the
Yes.
entire rest of the story is.
But I assume the nose growing was a key element of this movie, not such a minor part.
Yeah, and maybe I missed another growing either way. Little boy's wooden nose growing. It's just a little odd to be a key point in a story.
Yes.
There was one other thing, but it's gone now. Oh,
There's so many other things. What are you
well,
talking about?
I mean, I also remember like Jiminy Cricket was like the conscience. Always let your conscience be your guide and shit. And then
Yeah.
I didn't remember that Jiminy Cricket, his conscience is like gone for the entire thing and is completely worthless. And every time he stands up, he falls back down again. Like it was just laughably stupid that this was
Yeah.
a character in this movie because his point was to tell Pinocchio what is right and what is wrong, and the frickin' fairy godmother whatever put him in charge, and he's just the worst at it and has no value in the entire movie at all.
Basically, don't listen to your conscience because it sucks and it's weak, and it's a weak little bitch is what it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Go to Pleasure Island,
But it's
and with magic, everything will be fine.
yes, there's so much to wrap my brain around in this film. And do you think it was intentional that they used Tom Hanks as Geppetto? Are
Do
they
you
trying to
think
say
that there's
something?
anything that these people do that isn't intentional? I think even
Like,
their failures are intentional at this point.
I don't understand.
Also, this movie sucked. This movie was really poorly written, poorly executed.
They all are. They
Yeah.
all are. All the live action remakes, most of them just are like they take the dialogue word for word, except they cut out the funny parts.
Right.
They cut out the one-liners. Like, I think the last one I watched, no, it wasn't the last one I watched, but I watched the Lion King remake, and it was literally verbatim, word by word, except they cut out every single funny one-liner of the film. And
Oh,
it's
you
just
guys like The Lion King? What if we gave it to you again, but without all the joy?
yes, just made it sad
Just
and
lifeless,
depressing.
no expression animals who aren't having fun.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why they chose this one. This just seems like one that could have just disappeared into the memory bank, and we could have just remembered the happy boy who's in the moral of the story is don't lie. And like our memories, that's what the moral of the story was. Hey,
Right.
don't lie, and your nose won't grow.
Right.
But instead, we decided to dig up the immorality, I guess, that was Pinocchio and throw it into live action remake and remind people that Disney's all about sending children to Pleasure Island and
And
such.
kidnapping them in the middle of the night, allegedly, and certain things.
Yes.
Geppetto.
Geppetto.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. That's about all the time I got.
Same.
On that happy note.
Mm-hmm. Good
I
night,
think
kids.
we should have ended with rapping Granny, I think.
Craig, where can people find you and the things you've got going on?
People can find all the things that I got going on at breakthebellpod.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Break the Bell Pod, or all the social medias at Break the Bell Pod. And go check out the Rapping Granny because she is sick.
She's dope and fly.
I like how she uses just all the Republican talking points. That's all it is.
Just buzzwords. I like how she very emphatically flaps her wings too.
I'm pro-police, but I'm also pro or less corruption. It's like
Right.
less control, but pro-police. Yeah, cool.
Yep. Integrity, morality, and accountability. All right. Okay. The system is down.tv at TSIDpod on Twitter, and that's it. Thank you guys for being here, and here's Grandma.
For some who can't define this as a female adult, I know what a woman is.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to
This has been Two Scoops Morning News every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. Central or whenever we feel like it. Until next time, hang in there, America.